No, you're right.
And then they started playing a lot better recently. And then now they've hit the speed bump over the last couple of series.
7 games over, 57 and 50 now for the Yankees.
And now wild card race is a muck.
Right.
I mean, when you look at Kansas City and
Cleveland obviously is involved in that too. I mean, that's what makes these games even bigger because you got to look at that aspect. Here we go.
Absolutely.
Look at him right on the AL East standings.
Yeah, the Red Sox are 2 up and the Rays are 3.5 back.
Yeah, and the Rays are 3 behind the Yankees in a loss column.
I was while watching the Met game yesterday.
Here's the wild card. Look at them. Look at it. They're brilliant here.
Well, for those listening, they're 1 up on the Royals for the second wild card.
Correct.
Tampa's a half out. Seattle's 2.5 out.
Right.
While I was watching the Met game, Nolan Arenado is one of the best players in baseball. Was up, and they flashed a stat that I thought was interesting, and that was these are one of those stats I think you'd like. Yeah. I think you'd like it. Percentage of time, amount of time you get the runner home with less than 2.
That's a big number.
Runner on third, less than 2.
That's a stat that does interest me.
Okay,
yes.
now listen to this. If you didn't see this stat,
this is Arenado.
Yes, they flash Arenado's stat and they flash the National League average. Now, just guess. What do you think the National League average is?
Getting the runner in from third with less than 2 out.
Yes. What do you think that average is? And I'll tell you Nolan's number. It was crazy.
I would say. Not much more than 50%. I'm going to say it's probably about 52, 53%.
Spot 55%. You're right on. That's pretty. That's basically nailed
That's
it.
the National League average.
National League average. So you assume the American League is somewhat similar, maybe a little
probably.
higher. Nolan Arenado's average was 85%.
Wow. 85.
Isn't that crazy?
That's money in the bank, 85%.
And that is something
He's a great player, Arenado.
But you know what?
That nobody really knows about. Not enough people know about.
Hey, they get to the World Series, I think people will start to know.
He's very much like, how about your guy Goldschmidt yesterday? 3 homers.
I think he's the MVP of the league.
You think so?
Yeah, somebody called up the other day and asked who the MVP of the league is. See, Arenado and Blackman probably split it with Colorado.
Could be. Yeah.
I don't know if there's anybody with LA. You want to go with Cody Bellinger? I think that's a legitimate candidate, Cody Bellinger.
Right.
They call him up. They've been unbelievable.
Yep.
You want to go with anybody in Washington? You want to go with Bryce Harper?
Yeah,
Ryan Zimmerman?
Yeah, I guess you could always go with probably Harper. You could always go there.
Zimmerman, too. I think they're going to split the vote.
You see, Zimmerman's had an unbelievable year.
And then you got Goldie. And right now, the Rockies and Diamondbacks, you got to have a boring National League. Because think about it. The Dodgers have won the West. The Nationals have won the East. And for the most part, Arizona and Colorado have the wild cards.
Right. It's basically the Central.
It's just the Central. And
the Cubs have kind of taken control a little bit.
Yeah, you get the sense, even though they lost yesterday to the Diamondbacks.
Yes.
And that was a wild game. They lost 10-8. And like you mentioned, Goldie hit the 3 home runs.
Here's the NL wild card now. Brilliantly again done by CBS.
But if you look at the teams that are trailing Arizona and Colorado.
The Mets are only 11 and a half out.
If you look at the teams trailing Arizona and Colorado, there's Central Division teams that are closer to the division than they are the wild card.
Right.
So if those teams got hot, they're probably winning the division. So right now, barring a collapse, Arizona and Colorado may have like a bore fest to the wild card. So Arizona's a playoff team, so I think it's got to be Goldschmidt, doesn't it?
He's certainly in the conversation. And, you've been on him for years. He's a tremendous player. And talk about a guy that flies under the radar, man.
Well, I think if you play in the National League West, but you're not on the Dodgers and Giants, you fly under the radar.
Yeah, you're right.
On the Diamondbacks, Rockies, or Padres?
There's just those 3 teams, when I think of lack of sex appeal, okay, I can't think of 3 less sexier teams than they are.
Those 3?
No, seriously, think about it. The Rockies, the Diamondbacks, and the Padres. I mean, there's just nothing there.
So does that mean you are not going to be excited and or watch Arizona-Colorado wildcard game? Excited for that game?
I guess that's what it is right now.
What's going to happen?
It'll probably be a good game. I'm not saying it's going to be good. I like those wild card games, though. I like the sudden death games.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah, no, except when last year I didn't like it. As a Met fan, I wasn't too thrilled with it. But
the Mets if the Mets want, they could bring in the guy that ended their season, Connor Gillespie, was DFA'd.
I know.